All right, folks, welcome back to the Night's Watch. I'm Jacob.
I'm Alex.
And holy cow, it's happening, man. It's training camp.
Training camp.
Preseason's about to start.
Preseason starts tomorrow.
Hockey is back.
Today is Saturday. This will probably come out on Sunday or Monday, but
I look at my social media feed, and it's all like line rushes and injury updates and
actual hockey.
Quotes from coaches and GMs, and God, feels like all is right in the world. All is right in the world.
Quotes from Thatcher Demko may not actually play hockey to a full extent ever again.
Yeah, I regret putting Vancouver at 1. Let's be real. I only did it because I didn't want to put Vegas at 1.
I didn't want to sound like a
I should have. What is credibility worth? Nothing to me.
We're not actually journalists.
Next year I'm going to stick to my guns and just be a wild fucking homer. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, even the
Vegas number 1, baby. But anyways, so we saw the Rookie Faceoff. We're seeing the first few days of training camp.
Yep.
And Alex, I'm so excited. I want to play a game with you.
All right, yeah.
This is a variation of a game that we play all the time called Who He Play For. But it's going to be our own prospects.
Right.
This is going to be very quick. We're not going to put a lot of thought into it. I'm just going to run through names. I'm going to give you the first name. I'm going to see if you can give me the last name.
Yep.
And we're just going to run through the list. Don't have to think too hard. And full disclosure, I did steal this from the Steve Dangle podcast. All right. Are you ready, my friend?
Yes.
Zach.
Dean. No, not Zach Dean. He used to play for us. Zach. Oh my God, there's a Zach. I know the Zach. Zach Mayer?
That is a last name, but no. I should clarify, this isn't just prospects. This is anyone at training camp.
Oh, training camp. Zach, I don't know.
Aston Reese.
I'm an idiot. I forgot we signed his ass.
Ivan.
Don't
think too hard.
Barbashev.
Yep. Braden.
Bowman.
Yep. Jakob.
Demick. Or Brabenec.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he changed.
Jakob versus Jacob.
Yeah, exactly.
Cal.
Mm-hmm. Burke?
Yep. So I was going to say, signed him this year.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, but it's spelled Matthew.
Oh, Cataford.
Mm-hmm. Grigori.
Denisenko.
Pavel.
Dorofiev.
Jack.
Eichel.
Ben.
Hutton.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. The other Ben, which also has an H in his last name.
Ben.
Rookie. We just saw him at the face-off.
Hemmerling. Goddamn.
Tomas.
Hurdle.
Alexander.
Holtz.
Brett.
Howden.
Mikhail. This is kind of a deep pick.
Oh, Mikhail. I know this name.
And I'm not even sure how to say it. Hutchet.
Okay.
H-U-C.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bear.
Hughes.
I like that name.
Mm-hmm.
Jet.
Jones.
William.
With no more Carrier. William. Carlson.
Yep.
Duh.
Keegan.
Colasar.
Tanner.
Tanner Pearson.
Oh, we have 2 Tanners. Tanner
Lachinsky.
Yep, you got them both. The other Jacob.
Demick or Brabenec. There's another Jacob. There's a third.
Jeez, there's a lot of Jacobs. Matthew.
Okay.
Anyways, Mitch.
We have a Mitch on the team.
That was my first thought too.
Is this Mitch Mayer?
Mitch McLean.
Oh yeah, we signed him from the Flames.
Yeah.
He used to play on the AHL team. We talked about that when we were talking about some signings. Yeah,
and I remember Brian McCormick,
that big bald guy,
posted a video interviewing him, and he's like, "Are you excited?" He's like, "Well, I've had a lot of success in this building." I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Welcome to the team. Yep. All right, Riley.
Ooh, Riley. Riley. We have a Riley. It's not Riley Smith anymore.
I know.
Riley. Oh, I don't know.
Riley McKay.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll do some fun. Simon.
Ivory Pernard.
Yep. Jonas.
Ronberg.
Matthias.
Spelled
Matyas.
Oh, Sepavilov.
Yep. Sloan.
Stanek.
Kai.
Uchez.
Oh man, you see you're getting something. Tuam. It's like Thomas, but there's a U in there.
Ooh, I know this name. It's like Tuamu or oh God, what's his last name?
Euronin.
Yeah, we talked about him before.
Artur.
Cholak. Samuel.
This is the last name that you did say earlier for a different person.
Oh, Meyer?
Yep.
Yeah, he played at the Rookie Faceoff. Mazden. Ooh, I saw this name. Mazden, I can't remember his last name.
It was Leslie.
Leslie, yeah. I was like, who is that? I had to go down a rabbit hole the other day.
William.
William?
With a V.
William. Oh, that's a fun name. William.
He had a big rookie face-off.
Oh, this is I really like. Is it the Kimmich?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like him. Yeah, he had a really good rookie face-off. He was excellent, actually. And he was also, like, getting ready to get into fights, too.
Yeah, Brandon. Glorious mustache, which at times becomes a glorious beard.
Oh, Brandon Hickey. I love Brandon Hickey.
Mm-hmm.
He's still on the team?
Yep.
Awesome.
They re-signed him for a 2-year extension.
Yeah, I like his energy. He's a ton of fun in Henderson.
I'll do one more. Robert
Haig.
Yep. And all the goalies are too easy.
Yep. Oh, yeah, we know those guys.
But anyways, but I don't know. I thought that'd be fun.
Yeah, a lot of big names, like a lot of good names that are out. I mean, like we talked about, there's a few standouts. Obviously, like you got like Cataford, you want him to stand out, and you want Chayka got into a fight. You want Fleming, and
it wasn't just a fight. He beat the absolute brakes off that guy.
Yeah,
it was very one-sided.
Yeah, and Setoff and Fleming look good. But you want those guys to look good because they're actually gonna be playing in Henderson. But like a couple of the surprises, like we talked about, like Kimmich looked really, really good. Barrett Hughes looked good.
Yeah.
Brandon Bowman, undrafted, looked great.
I was going to say, some of these names I wrote down, I tried to write down their draft position, and a lot of them were undrafted.
Yeah.
William Kamek, undrafted. Mm-hmm. Darren Millard fucking loved him. He was singing his praises on the stream. And I saw one of his post-game interviews. He said, I want to be solid in the defensive zone. I don't want to just fly around the O zone. I love that.
Yep.
Strong, smart. He scores.
Yep.
Plays right shot defense. 20 years old.
Something we need, yeah. Or could use maybe he doesn't make it to the NHL, but something we could use in the AHL for sure.
Yep. And then who else? Braden Bowman, who I talked about a few episodes ago. We signed him to a Silver Knights contract.
Yep.
Captain of the Guelph Storm. 21 right wing, as you said, undrafted. 3 goals. One of them was pretty fucking nasty.
Yeah, all look good.
Just from that, the way he carried himself, the way he talked to the reporters, I'm like, this kid's got skill. This kid's got some character. Yep. I think he's going to be in that top 6 in Henderson. And
I think so too.
Rocking and rolling.
Yeah, he looked good, and then Bear Hughes looked good.
Yes.
Jet Joe. I mean, everybody looked pretty good. The defense looks steady. I know there are some games where he got up, and then they let in a few goals and it was happened. But again, it's a rookie face-off prospect game. You're not playing.
I think they have like one practice.
Yeah, you're not going to know everybody immediately. Like everybody looked good. Like from the highlights and then from some of the games I try to watch. Despite the Kings trying not to have anybody watch these games.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, once I saw the facility, I'm like, I don't think there's any seats in there.
No, it's like it's 100% City National. It's just like bench seating. So it wouldn't matter if you bought a ticket anyways, or if we had one, you would have to buy a ticket or whatever. You just
I think the only people that were there were like scouts and shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Montreal's like selling out the fucking Bell Center, and they're
that looked awesome.
Fucking jizz nuts and touch the puck. Like,
I know it's a little jealousy there, but I saw those like the ones with the Flyers and the Canadians. It looked like a ton of fun. I think the one they had in Minnesota or wherever they had it was a smaller arena. It wasn't the Wilds arena, but it looked still. Everybody was there. I'm like, come on, guys! Like, the West Coast hockey is probably the best hockey we got. Put it somewhere nicer.
For real. Like the Lee Family Forum. That's a great venue.
It's a ton of fun.
Awesome. There's 2 other guys I wanted to mention from the Rookie Face-Off that really impressed me. Jacob Matthew or Mathieu. Spelled all French.
Mm-hmm.
Spelled all French like I don't know how to say it.
He's that French Canadian.
But 20 years old, center, undrafted.
Yeah.
But he looked great. Specifically that shorthanded goal. Did
yes,
you see that?
I remember that.
Was nasty.
Yeah, the one that he got out. Yeah.
And just the way he read the play, booked it.
Yep.
Breakaway, sank it in, shorthanded.
Easy. Yeah.
I loved it.
That was against the was that against Seattle or against Utah?
good question.
One of the two.
It's all muddled up together. I think Seattle.
Yeah.
And then Carl Lindbaum, he looked great.
He's still only like, what, 22, 23 years old?
I think he's 23. He was a 7th round pick. But
And
even though he's only 23, he's
21.
21. Even younger. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Well, he's 21, but I was like, why does he look so good? I think it's because he's not in juniors. He's playing pro.
He played in the SHL.
Yeah, he's playing pro in Sweden.
He played. He was the player of the year in juniors in Sweden the year we drafted him, and then last year he was really good in Sweden. 6 foot, a little bit undersized, but like he's fast and he's got a good he's got good movement. He's got a good glove hand. Like he's got everything you want. And he's only 21, and now he's going to come into the tutelage of Sean Burke. It's you're setting yourself up for success. Like, and all these guys that are going to be with the AHL or ECHL, they're all under 25 years old. They're all coming into an organization that can develop goalies pretty well.
Yeah, and then you pointed out in the other episode, but now that all these vets in Henderson kind of cleared out,
I'm excited.
I think we finally have like an infrastructure where we have our own young guys.
Yeah, outside of like Mason Morelli and Denisenko and maybe like obviously Robert Haig, because that's
there's always going to be vet signings.
Morelli and Denisenko, like it's a lot of youth is going to be on the team. Like Gage Quinney's a career AHLer, he's going to be here for a while. Mason Geertsen, you need a guy like that. He's just a fucking monster.
Brandon Hickey.
Yeah, Brandon Hickey. But like, there's a lot of youth coming in. Like we're gonna have Cataford, Sapavilov, Burke, Callahan, Burke, Brabenec, Demick, Hemmerling, all the defense.
Brabenec also had a great tournament.
Yep.
And something that I thought was telling was some of the quotes from Ryan Craig about him when he scored. Before he scored in the first game, he said something like, Millard asked him, what are you looking to see more from him? He's like, this year we're really harping on him to shoot the puck more because he has a great shot. Shoot the puck. And then sure enough, scored some goals in the tournament. And the first thing Ryan Craig in the post game was like, oh, it's great to see him score. It's great to see him score. So I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis for him this year is
good. Yeah.
Shooting more, scoring more goals.
I like it. Yeah. And plus you're going to have, better your younger talent around you. Like you're probably going to have Sapavilov and Cataford, and Gustafson's probably going to play. Hemmerling's going to be on the team. There's a lot of youth finally coming into Henderson to the point where like, okay, we've got enough guys in the system to where we can make a team out of it. And,
exactly.
Bodies off the street.
And I don't know, man. I know we don't have like the most high end prospect pool, but and you don't want to put too much into a rookie tournament because it's just a glorified practice, really.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I like this group. I think
I do. Yeah.
All these undrafted guys, all these 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, like they're looking good.
Yeah, and they all look. I mean, we cruised through that rookie tournament, and then you're just getting to camp, and now they're going to learn and play with like the big guys and just play more. And I think it's going to be like a huge plus. Like all these guys are in training camp, especially like the young guys like Sapavilov and Demick and Brabenec. I mean, they've been there a couple times, but like Hemmerling and Cataford, those it's all only going to help. Playing with guys like Stone and Petro and Eichel and everything.
Yeah, I feel like usually when people look at prospect pools, like, all right, who can hit the NHL at age 18? That's how you decide if it's a good pool or not.
No, it's like who can
fact of the matter
develop
is
these guys.
Yeah. In fact, the matter is, we haven't had a lot of high picks because
we've been competing.
Yeah, we're always spending them.
Highest pick was what? Cody Glass.
Yeah,
I think
in year 1.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think I don't know, man. I think I lost my thought.
No, I think what you're trying to say. I think we're set up for a good AHL season, and then I think we're also set up for a good.
I think we're finding some diamonds in the rough, and I think the staff is building something with what they have.
Yeah, like I think you
and
mentioned.
I'm really impressed with how Ryan Craig is running things.
Yes. Yep. That was the right hire from within for sure.
Yeah.
I think you said last week, like our pro scouts are like top of the business. I think our amateur scouts are getting there slower, but they're getting to be good.
Well, and that's the thing. I was thinking about it. I was like, I mean, David Edstrom's been part of 2 major deals. I'm like, other teams like these guys, like he was a number
Cody Glass has been moved around.
Yeah.
Like he's playing.
And God forbid, every year on the anniversary of the trade, I have to watch mainstream hockey media jerk off Montreal for getting Nick Suzuki for Max Pacioretty. But hey, we drafted him. That's a W for the scouting. Maybe not a W for the GM, but a W for the scouting department.
Those things happen. Like, there's been plenty of picks that panned out to be incredible if they would have kept it. Like, only if they kept that one guy. I'm like, well, Montreal still sucks. So
exactly. Well, that's
maybe in a couple of years.
That's the real question: is how many years in a row can Montreal be dog shit before people stop circle jerking?
Yeah,
Nick Suzuki being an okay second line center.
Yeah, it's very true. So yeah, if Rookie Faceoff was fun, I mean, and then now camp, obviously with training camp. So first two practices were Thursday and Friday. Got those guys going all day.
Got our first look at the new look of the offensive lines and the defensive pairs.
Yeah, we can go into that. Obviously, the first preseason game is tomorrow against the Sharks.
Woo!
And then the Kings on the 25th, and then Utah on the 27th. We're going to be at that game.
Yeah.
Get that Aiden Hill pin.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll be at the Carlson game, the 10-3, I think. Get that pin too. But with camp, they had a first look at probably like their first try at the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something they're going to try out for at least the Sharks if they play everybody and see how they're doing it, because the first cut, I believe, is on Monday, right? After the Sharks game.
That's probably going to be the fringe guys.
Yeah, first, Braden Bowman. I mean, I'm not saying he's fringe, but the guys that are going to be in the AHL for sure.
The guys that they signed for Henderson, or guys that are really young and they're just there for the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Experience the system and the culture.
You'll
and
see
the
you'll see like Vickman probably get cut from the roster, so knowing he's going to be playing in the AHL, even though he had a great rookie face-off, but. So the first couple days, the lines were Barbie, Eichel, Olofsson. I think we kind of thought that from
called it.
All things pointing with Cassidy, that's what they're going to do for now. And then this one,
I say, didn't you call this line on your first prediction, like at the beginning of the summer? I remember you put Carlson. Didn't you have Carlson and Stone together?
Yeah, I think I said like take some weight off a Hurdle. I may have had Hurdle and Carlson together, but this line I actually really like is Dory, Carlson, and Stone.
Yeah,
this takes the weight of carrying a liability, possibly like with Olofsson, Holtz are carrying two, and then puts a playmaker, two playmakers, and a actual scorer, and then
all three of those guys
defensively sound.
Yeah, and I say, and all three of those guys, Carlson and Stone are playmakers, but they can finish.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah,
Stone and Carlson had 30 goals last year.
And
I really like this line. Before we move, I was gonna say,
this one, Dory, Carlson, Stone.
Yeah, before we move on to the third line, I fucking love this line.
I think Carlson's got that guy that can finish back on his line with Dory, because he can finish. And then there was Stevenson said that Dory had the best shot in the team before he left, and obviously they're gonna put it with the best playmaker on the the best guy, not the best playmaker, but the guy that makes the other player the best on his line.
Yeah, and then like you said, this is also a good defensive line. This is going to be the line that they deploy against Connor McDavid.
Yeah, because obviously we know Stone is lethal in the neutral zone. Like, that man's stick is everywhere.
He just picks pockets.
And Carlson's fast enough to keep up with everybody, and he's smart. And then Dorofiev is young but also very fast and smart. With his positioning. So I really like that line.
Mark Stone got that yoink ability.
And then the third line, I like the idea. I don't know about breaking up Wah from the fourth line, but it's Wah, Hurdle, and Holtz.
I think I like that line too.
It's smart, because you're taking a potential, we all know Olofsson and Holtz, like their ability in their own zone's not the greatest, and their skating is all right, but you don't want to have both of them on the same line together.
Exactly. And because that was my fear, that all right, put him with Carlson, and it's all right, now Carlson's just completely handicapped because he's spending his whole shift trying to get them out of their own zone.
Exactly. And so you put, Wah, obviously we know he's extremely responsible, extremely good two ways, and it has a ton of potential. When we saw it last year when everybody was injured, he was playing like first line center, I think, or first line wing, and he was fucking killing people, other teams. That line, it was him, Barbashev, and like Marchessault, and they were like fucking mowing people down.
I think I really like this line as well.
It's big too, because Wah is like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", something like that.
Oh, this whole team's huge, dude.
Let's see, Wah. Wah is 6'4", Jesus Christ. Tomas Hertl 6'3" and Holtz is 6 feet even, but Holtz is also a pretty big boy, 6'2", 200.
I did see a fun little graphic that was saying basically like the biggest team in the league.
Yeah.
And Vegas is the heaviest team in the league, and I think they're the second tallest team in the league.
Damn.
This is a big-ass team.
Yeah, like everybody's, aside from like Victor Olofsson, everybody's over 6 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
But one thing I really like about this line is I think Waugh and Hertl can complement each other.
Yes, very
the
well.
way that we're saying Carlson and Stone complement each other.
Yeah.
Because they play that same game. Hertl loves getting down low.
Yep.
He loves getting in front of the net, behind the net. Same thing with Waugh. He's always great below the circles.
Yeah, and if this works out, like if it, like say for example, they're just down there battling and a puck leaks out, you got an elite shot just sitting there,
exactly,
waiting for a top shelf shot just right there, like right in front of the net.
Exactly, because say if Waugh's down low and if Hertl pops out in front of the net, easy, and then Holtz.
That's what I'm talking about. Holtz is going to be like if Waugh and Hertl are battling down low, Holtz can just hover.
Exactly.
Right in front of that, right behind him, and just be ready to laser one in.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. It's a little because Waugh is definitely better at center than he is on the wall.
Yes.
Or on the wing, I should say, because that is traditionally winger seen as easier, and I guess it is, but it's less responsibility, but it is a specific skill set.
Yeah, and
but
this
at
also
the same
shows...
time, he is hardworking and he
exactly.
is tough. I don't think he's gonna have trouble getting a puck off the wall.
This shows Cassie's confidence in him to play up the lineup, and
exactly.
I definitely think he can do that.
He was our second line center for a good stretch last year.
Yeah, he looked great
with all the injuries.
Yeah, and then this fourth line is Tanner Pearson, Brett Howden, and Keegan Colasar. Pearson's on his PTO trying to make a team. I think he can. He just was derailed by, poor management in Vancouver.
He was just derailed by Vancouver fucking him over.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with Jack in Buffalo. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And then he broke both hands in separate times in Montreal.
Yeah, and blocking shots. But you like him getting down there.
Which, by the way, how fucking insane is that?
You get hand surgery and then you break both of them again.
You block a shot, you break your hand, you're out for a long time. You come back. And then immediately you block another shot and you break your other hand with the other hand.
God, he was just fucking.
So he's a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Plays the right way, but that's
what Cassie and McCrimmon like. But he's got poor guy just had a fucking target drawn on his fucking hands.
Yeah, and they did talk to him, and he said something. Basically, says it's PTO. He's like, but which I understand. He's like, but He's like, I'm healthy. He's like, I trained hard this summer. I'm in a good spot. Obviously, they're all going to say that, but I think he.
Stone said too. Stone said that this is first fully healthy summer, and he felt really good. Feels great.
Actually, I did write down a quote from Stone about that.
Just while we're talking about the forwards,
just because it made me laugh. He said someone asked him about the health, and he said 3 summers ago I was rehabbing my back. 2 summers ago I was rehabbing my back. Last summer, I was coming off a Stanley Cup run, and I only had a month and a half to train.
Yeah.
That just made me laugh for some reason.
And he just feels good. I mean, I think this is the first, other than the cup, not the cup, I'm sorry, the playoff missed season, which, again, that's now 3 years, going to be 3 years removed. This is the first, fairly long off season these guys have had.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like you said, in that quote, after that, we missed the playoff. After we missed the playoffs that one season, he was still rehabbing his back.
Yes,
this is his first season where he doesn't. His first off season where he didn't have to worry about his back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just oh, this internal organ needs to heal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then actually, I forgot, but I wrote down one other quote from Stone that I liked. It was about Carlson and playing with Carlson. Because he acknowledged, we played together, but it's been a while. Because I remember DeBoer tried that for a little bit.
He did, yeah.
But basically he said, coach about Carlson, coaches love the way he plays. His line mates love the way he plays. The defensemen really love the way he plays. He doesn't cheat for offense, but he's good when he has the chance. And then he also noted that they both have played with Dorofeev at separate times of the year.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a smart line. I mean, I know it's early.
This is why Bruce Cassidy's the coach, not me, because I didn't think of the obvious.
I know it's early, and I know it's probably things might change. But say for example, Olsen doesn't work out or Holtz doesn't work out, but you can mix and match some guys and throw things around. And
well, Alex, that's the beauty of it, man. It's training camp. No one has lost a game.
Yeah, no one.
The vibes are high.
Yeah, and even going into preseason,
we have nothing but roses ahead of us.
Exactly.
And then if we lose 3 games out of the gate, then we'll fall apart and panic. But right now, the vibe is high, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I like these lines.
Yeah, I do too. And then defense is a little different. I thought this was interesting. Hannafin and Haig, which you're keeping that pairing up from Dallas, the Dallas series, and when Hannafin came over, he was paired with Haig because Petro was injured. They looked great together. And then this one's actually very interesting to me. Theo and Pietrangelo.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Two kind of, number one guys, but they'll look good together. I mean, Petro looked.
Theo's finally on his natural side.
Yeah, and Petro's naturally right.
Because Theo's been playing on the right for a long time, but
yes.
he is a left defenseman. And Butch actually had a good quote about them. Someone asked, like, "Oh, two offensive guys," and he said, "Having two drivers on a pair, he's like, is not a problem." Because you look at the other pairs, he's like, and then we got McNabb and White Cloud together. He's like, basically, he says like, I'm more than happy to have a super offensive pair because I'm also going to have a super defensive pair.
Yeah, even then, Pietrangelo is like not super offensive either. Like I was watching, they were doing like the 2-on-2 drills to send out like two forwards, and then they would have the defensive pairings, go multiple times, and Petro and Theo were one of them. And Petro looked fast, faster than he's ever looked. I'm like, he was cutting things off. He was taking good angles, making good decisions, and really quick. I'm like, did he lose some weight? It turns out when you got one less appendix, you're actually a little bit better.
I'll say, what the real change is he's not coming off a fucking fresh surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy. McCormick mentioned this during his press conference, but I forgot what the number was, but he said something like, "Oh yeah, between this date in spring and like this date in the year and then playoffs, we had like 14 surgeries on the team."
Insane.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good, and then obviously that bottom pair is McNabb, White Cloud. I think
I love it. That's like the shutdown pair.
Yeah, and Korczak was also shifting in between White Cloud, and it's a great pair. Like McNabb's just so good, and then White Cloud's really been getting better. He had a down season last year, but I think it's more of between him and Haig, were two young guys coming off a cup, and not knowing what comes next, but. I really like that pair.
Yeah, I love all these pairs. I'm excited. Haig looked good on the right side, so that's kind of a blessing knowing that he can play the right.
Yeah, he can play the right, and that opens up for more Hager bombs.
Yes, and then I just really love that Theo Petro. I feel like this is like the fantasy pair that as soon as we had both of them on the team, you're like, I would love to see them play together, but then you're like, well, obviously they're not going to do that.
You can't do that. You
want to split them. You want to split them up. But
now you can.
I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be like a fucking Cale Makar, Devin Tays situation.
Yeah.
Because Petro. That's what I love about Petro, and this is why I still don't understand why people shit on him. Yeah, he has offense and he can jump into play and drive play. But he's also one of the best shutdown guys in the league.
Yeah,
he is so defensively sound. Yeah, and he's big and he's strong. And he kills penalties and he eats minutes and he doesn't take no shit from nobody.
Yep.
Man, I'm excited.
Yeah, very excited.
This is going to be a good pair.
Yeah, I love it.
Keep it together, Bruce.
Keep it together. They play well. I have no reason not to keep it together. Yeah, I mean, we had a few storylines. I had a few listed out, but kind of got answered on those first two days.
I know, right?
Like all these I had written out. Like Jack obviously gets Olsen for now. Dorofiev is going to play with Carlson. Carlson plays with Dory and Stone. Pearson might make the team from all first looks. I mean, if he's not, you still have Rombjerg and Brisson.
So maybe that's something we can talk about. What would you rather see, them sign Pearson or give that spot to Brisson?
I'd rather them sign Pearson. I mean, I like Brendan Brisson. I think he's a great player, and I think he's going to be good when he can be on the team, but he needs to be on the team in a kind of a scoring role. I don't think he can play on a fourth line.
Yeah,
especially in the NHL.
I will say I don't think they would just put him on fourth line left wing.
Sure.
They'd probably shift Waugh back down and shuffle things.
I do think he can play with the team. I don't. There's no reason to me why he can't. But I think to be safe and again, Pearson looked decent. Still coming back. He's coming back from injuries. He had a good offseason. I would prefer a guy like Pearson in a bottom six just with the experience. He's won a cup. He's played in the league for a long time.
Yeah, and to me,
he plays a good bottom six role.
I would say he would really fit the identity of that fourth line.
Exactly.
And if we want that look,
we have the luxury of Brisson.
Yeah, I was going to say
being able to play, and then also Rombjerg being able to play if we need him to.
And I was going to say, for years now, we've had the luxury of Waugh being our fourth line center.
Yeah, he's better than that. Yeah.
He is better than that.
Yeah.
So if we want to play him up in the lineup and kind of expand that role, then the question kind of becomes, can our fourth line still be viable?
Yeah.
And Brett Howden and Keegan Kolesar are not question marks for me.
It's who plays on their wing.
Exactly.
But then you have Pearson, but then you also have Romberg you can bring in. And
and that's another thing, too. I would
Mason
not
Morelli,
mind. Yeah, those are guys I could see on a fourth line.
Yeah, and Mason Morelli looked really, really good when he came up last year, and he had a couple of those games where he scored or he was just playing really well.
Dude, have you seen a picture of him recently?
Not recently.
He really looks like what's that actor's name? Jay Moore.
Does he?
He looks exactly like Jay Moore.
Awesome. We got Jay Moore playing
like carbon copy. Like maybe not now because Jay Moore's a little older now, but like
Jay Moore in his
Jay Moore in the Edward Horton Hulk movie.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what Mason Morelli looks like.
Awesome.
just a little side note for everyone.
I think that I think we got a lot of options in this fourth line, and then plus we'll have actually money this year. We'll get into it a little bit later. I know we're 30 minutes in here. We're probably gonna have some money this year because of a certain someone.
Yeah. Should we talk about that now, or should we?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's talk about it. So we'll have money. Obviously, if nobody saw this, I would hope everybody saw this. Robin Leonard did not report to camp, and then I think you said a quote from him is that he told the team that he wasn't coming. It was
known. The first report said it was just that Robin Leonard did not report to camp, and now the team is exploring its options, including contract termination.
I mean, it's like the Marcus Johansson situation in Philly, right?
Yeah, and the reason being, for those that don't know, is he's unfit to play. The plan was to put him on long-term injury reserve.
You have to be checked out.
I said, but to do that, you have to come to camp and take a physical, and then the doctor has to say, yeah, this guy can't play.
Yeah, the not the team doctor, the NHL doctor has to say, yeah, he can't play hockey.
Yeah, and so it is mandatory. So when he missed it, that's where it becomes tricky. So, like I said, an option. I don't know if they're even pursuing this option. This is all coming from Frank Saravelli, so grain of salt. But apparently the team is exploring the option of terminating his contract. Personally, I don't know why he wouldn't show up, because it's basically just kissing $4.5 million goodbye.
Easy money. Yeah. It's your last year. This is quite literally your last time getting paid to be in hockey.
Yeah, and this is an active situation, I guess, because before we started recording, he did release a brief statement basically saying that I told the team that I wasn't coming. I didn't just not show up. And Kelly McCrimmon kept it vague. He kept it vague.
He said we're exploring our options, and that's all we're going to say about it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's jokes to be made, but at the same time, knowing his history,
mental health history, and all the shit that's happened with him. I mean,
guy's gone through a lot. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. I mean, obviously he's going through the bankruptcy issues, and
it's easy to be like, fucking idiot, walking away from all that money. What was he thinking? He's probably too busy at the snake farm. And I'm not going to lie, I made some jokes like that.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I'm like, yeah, why would someone walk away from $4.5 million? That's actually really troubling.
Yeah. I mean, especially if all he had to do was just come to Vegas, get checked out, and go back home.
Yeah, so we'll see. But not to, be too cold-hearted about it, but if we do terminate that contract, we would be off
crew cap. Yeah.
Yeah, we would be
off LTIR.
Enter the season off LTIR for the first time in years.
Long time.
And then for the first time in years, we'd be able to accrue cap space and would probably have enough room by the deadline to make a notable addition to the roster.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we said, I mean, hopefully the guy's all right. Hopefully everything's as far as he could be with his current situation is going well, for doing well, or anything's going well. It's just terrible for him, especially coming in as he's a good goaltender and having a lot of potential, but don't want to say it's a win for us despite not knowing what's going on with him, but it's a win for the cap
money
situation and the organization. Like you said, this will be the first time in a long time we don't have to start off the year with anybody in LTIR. We'll have open LTIR slots. We won't have to pay for his contract.
Yeah, and I don't have it in front of me, and even if it is in front of me, I have a hard time reading it sometimes. But I think we would have room for carrying an extra forward or two. So
yeah,
then maybe you can carry Brendan Brisson and plug him in.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have enough cap to. I think we can carry. I think we're gonna be carrying 8 defensemen.
I think that's the plan. Kellen McCrum kind of indicated that Hutton and Korzak will be there.
We have money now to do that at least. We might have enough money to have a extra forward on the team too.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I'm more excited about this year is that we've got the money. Now we've got enough depth to where we can carry 13 forwards and 8 defensemen. And you know what? If something happens with the goaltending, you can bring up Akir Schmid.
Yep. Exactly.
This team is kind of, they rebuilt the team pretty quickly. Not rebuilt it. I wouldn't call it a rebuild. We lost a lot. Yes. Lost a lot in the offseason, but they retooled with the resources they had and only brought in they brought in small contracts and, but still this team is still elite center core. So elite that you could put Nick Waugh on the wing.
Exactly. Yeah. On that note, looking at these additions, and looking at these young guys, we've talked about it a lot, but I kind of wanted to ask you the question in this way. Mm-hmm. So of these players, I want you to tell me who you're most excited about and who you're most worried about. So Alexander Holtz, Pavel Dorofeev, Brendan Brisson, Victor Olofsson. Of those 4, who are you most excited for? Who are you most worried about?
I'm most excited for Pavel Dorofeev, just because he's come up in our system.
That is the correct answer. He's
going to be 24. He's been steadily, increasing his ability, and he's been steadily moving up in the system. He was drafted 79th, so like 3rd round, I think. He's steadily been moving up, gaining notoriety as he's been going, through the system, and now he's going to be playing with William Karlsson, Mark Stone.
Yep.
Or he could be playing with, who knows? He could be playing with Tomas Hertl. He could be playing with an all-star.
Yeah.
Like somewhere on the lineup. I'm most excited for him. I would say I'm most worried about Holtz, but I'm not as worried about Holtz because he's 22 years old. He still has a lot of time. I am more worried about Victor Olofsson. My reasoning is that he is 29 going on 30. He had his worst year last year. In argument, his worst year last year. He was injured. He was played really weird. It was a weird setup. He's got the history for sure. He's got 3 seasons of 20 plus goals is what you want to see. But can he play in a system, in a Bruce Cassidy system, that demands you play 2 ways and you also don't just depend on your shot? Because Anthony Mantha could not play in that system, and Anthony Mantha had a pretty similar, he had good points. Can he do that? But I think the difference with Olofsson is that, he's got 1 year to prove it. A 1 year, $1 million deal. The difference with Mantha, he's just been skating by on ability alone, whereas Olofsson has proved it. But I'm more worried about, can he come in and be what he was before last season? Because with Holtz, he still has room to grow. He's 22. He still has room to grow his ability. But yeah, what's your opinion? Who are you most excited about?
Well, I would say I would agree with Dorofeev, but to keep things interesting, I would say I'm actually pretty excited for Olofsson. He seems like the easy target of people of being the one to worry about. But I'm actually, I don't know. I have a good feeling about him. One, that shot is so nasty.
Yes.
Which we all know. Goal scoring ability's there. But also, he's fucking fast. He's kind of faster than I realized. He can skate. He can keep up with Eichel and Barbashev.
Yes, I mean he was playing with Eichel for a couple seasons, right?
Exactly. And then Bruce Cassidy even had some good things to say. Good. He basically just said he has all the tools that he needs to play there. He has a good first step. He's fast.
Yeah,
he's smart.
It's just, can he apply? That's my worry. Is can he get it? I think he can. It's just.
To me, his biggest issue is that he was playing in fucking Buffalo. You know what I mean?
True.
Who even was their coach last year? Don Granato.
Don Granato.
Yeah, give me a fucking break. So
I mean, look at the guys that have left there. Like Eichel. Eichel's been good. As soon as you leave Buffalo, it's oh wait, they're good again.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I just saw a meme actually last night, and it was a picture of I forget what it's called, but Buffalo's arena. And then someone just put a bunch of pictures of all the former Buffalo Sabres hoisting the cup.
Oh yeah, Speaking of former
Eichel, Okposo,
Okposo retired. Yeah, retired with the cup. Ed couldn't get in Buffalo. Went to Florida for half a season. Immediately got that thing. Reinhart.
Mm-hmm.
I know Evander Kane.
It was
Evander
yeah,
Kane never won
seriously
a
like
cup, but Evander Kane's immediately left Buffalo and was better in San Jose and Edmonton. Not to say anything good about Evander Kane, but
certainly not.
But Buffalo is a fucking
nightmare,
just a fucking black hole for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit, and I think he looks like he's in great fucking shape.
Yeah, I will say
he's got a jaw made out of fucking stone.
I'm a victim of
chiseled young
that.
man.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I am hyped for Olofsson. I think he's going to fit right in. I think having a good center and a good coach is going to do a world of difference for him. And honestly, all that logic applies to who I'm most worried for. So I guess I'm not as worried as I thought I would be, but. To me, the worry is Holtz.
Is it? So we're opposite?
Yeah.
Well, not opposite, but obviously Dorofeyev's kind of an obvious. But
yeah, only because of the skating and the decision making. I know a lot of people weren't happy with him and how Lindy Ruff was treating him, but you see some of those replays, and I'm like, dude, this guy's just throwing pizzas in the middle of the ice, like making bad choices. But again, that was kind of a shit show over there, so I'm not too. I'm not going to hold it against him.
Yeah,
I think in a team with structure and coaching and a good veteran presence,
and especially with the guy
that's a lot better.
A guy like Stone that kind of came into the league kind of in a similar fashion. Like he was drafted. Well, I would say take this back. Holtz was drafted high. He was top number 7, like top 10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Stone was drafted like way later, like 5th round. But the same question marks was like his skating, his decision making. And look where he's at now. He's an all-star.
Exactly. And I will say, Gary Lawless, he was telling the story on Spit and Chicklets, which I recommend going to listen to if anyone needs more content.
Yeah, they did the Pacific preview that was like 4 hours long.
Yeah, that's because they kept bringing in.
It
was basically like a 4-interview special.
Stitch that all together.
But anyways, so Gary was talking about Alexander Holtz, and he said that he has a friend who is a pro scout that's based in the East, and he said he saw a lot of Alexander Holtz, and he told Lawless when we got him, he's like, I promise you, he is a 35-goal player. His shot is so deceptive and so precise. He's like, this is a 35 goal player. Like you guys just basically found a 22-year-old Marchessault.
Wow.
So that got me excited. Obviously, you don't know until it actually happens.
Yeah, but I think with good coaching, I'll flat out say it. Lindy Ruff kind of fucking sucks. With good coaching and with Cassidy and like with good mentorship, like in Carlson and Hurdle and Stone and Eichel and like all these guys that are on the team that could really. He's on a team that's not also a bunch of teenagers.
Yes.
Like who was on that team when he was there? That guys are his same exact age. It was what, fucking, Andre Palat when they signed him. Like okay, like or like even Timo Meyer. But
I don't even know who the center was.
Yeah. Who knows? Dawson Mercer. He's also fucking just got his contract, and he's like also 20 years old. Like it was a bunch of who are you going to be mentored there, and as a forward, and especially if Lindy Ruff has if you make bad decisions and Lindy Ruff decides he's going to punish you because you don't have a guy on your team that's going to say, hey, listen, like this is let me take you and show you what we're doing.
Yeah, and then another thing Gary shared was they were talking about the Marchessault situation, which, I'm not going to relitigate that. No. But basically he just said something like, he's like, well, I think they did right by each other because he pointed out that, Marchessault had only ever made like $750,000.
Yeah.
And then he comes to Vegas, and then suddenly he gets to play with like William Karlsson and Jack Eichel, and his career explodes.
Yep.
He didn't mean that in the sense that he rode their coattails or anything. He just meant that when he was put in a situation to succeed and he had opportunity.
Yep.
He was able to bloom a little later and become a Conn Smythe winner, a 40-goal scorer.
40-goal scorer, and then get those contracts because when he his first contract was what, $5 million, $5.5 million when he was first up, and then this one's like what, 6, I think, with Nashville.
No, it's still like, it's like 5.5.
5.5, but like you said, they
but
coaching
he got that damn term.
Yeah, coaching put him into a position and to where he could excel, and he's doing that now. I think it's that's great. Like coaching here is it's been a carousel there's been 3 in 8-year lifespan, but that was finding the right fit. I think it's obviously Gallant started it all, took us to the final the first year, and then kind of slowed down after that. He got fired again. Peter DeBoer is a great coach, and he takes a lot of teams to the end, but doesn't finish it. And they had to find somebody that could finish it. And that's what they found in Cassidy. And obviously, he's working, like you said last week. They interviewed Marshall. It's like, oh, what do you want to change after? Like, it was like the player interviews after the Cup season. Like, what do you want to change? He literally said nothing.
Yeah.
Don't change anything about this.
He's like, what are you talking about? We won.
Yeah.
Don't change anything.
Yeah, exactly. And people like playing there, despite what you hear from other areas or even other talking heads. It's Cassie doesn't lose the room.
Speaking of that, I forgot I had one more note about Holtz.
Yeah.
When they were talking to Cassidy about him, because Cassidy's so hard on the young players, right?
Yeah.
That's such a storyline. But someone brought up Holtz and like what Cassidy thought of his game, and it was kind of like leading the question with like a negative tone.
Right.
And Cassidy just kind of cut him off, and he just said, "He's a Vegas Golden Knight. I'm not concerned about what happened in Jersey." And I'm like, perfect said.
Yeah,
perfectly said.
Yeah,
he's a Knight now. It's not a Devil. Totally different situation.
Yeah, he's got it's a brand new team, brand new situation. He's gonna have all the ability to figure it out and learn. And
yeah, sorry, my notes are all over the place. I was pretty drunk when I wrote these, but
you're good.
A lot of quotes, a lot of content here, folks.
No, I mean
it's training camp. It's chaotic.
Yeah,
There's like 60 players at
there's
City
like
National right now.
Something. How many players were invited? It was 63 players.
God damn.
Were there. A ton of players. Jesus. But yeah, there's so many guys that are practicing and obviously want to get a chance to even play a preseason game and even just make the team, even if it's like AHL or ECHL. They just want to be there.
Yeah, these guys are all fighting for spots in Henderson and Tahoe.
I still love that Kimek's name is William.
William.
Yeah. Again, like even if they don't, obviously if they don't make the AHL roster, they can make an ECHL roster. But I think. Pretty sure I read somewhere where from camp Vegas has one of the highest like signings by other teams after the camp is over. Like scouts saw them at our camp. Yeah,
like, yes, please.
Yeah, they'll take them into their
And I think that's one thing to keep in mind with camp too. It's not always about
No.
You invite these guys, you're not necessarily going to sign them. Like Pearson, maybe he doesn't sign here, but maybe Vancouver's like, hey, we want you back.
We want you back,
and he's like, no.
I mean, what Jim Rutherford's not running that anymore, right?
No, he is, but I think it was
no, not Jim Rutherford. It was Jim Benning.
Yeah, I think all that was a Jim Benning shit show.
I'm sorry,
Jim Benning masterclass.
I'm sorry, Rutherford, and you're a good guy.
Yeah, he's gonna hire a hitman.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot me through this window. Please.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like the team was looking good. It's obviously first couple practices. It's obviously going to change and make who's going to be there, who's going to be on the preseason rosters. I mean, we'll get our first look at a semblance of a lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Usually, there's not many vets on the road games.
Yeah, you're probably going to send.
This is probably going to be a combination of future Silver Knights and Night Monsters playing tomorrow.
You're probably going to see like Zach Aston Reese, and we're probably going to see Bowman and Brabennick and Cataford.
Mm-hmm.
You might see like a name like that'll pop up, like, oh, maybe White Cloud will be on the defense or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, maybe Korsak will play defense or something. But you'll see a lot of, like you said, you're not sending the full fucking vet presence to San Jose for game one. I think we watched last year the first preseason game.
There was like 3 people in the stands.
And like they had like the entire top like section, like nobody was there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh boy, like I'm sure they're all having fun. And I'm like, if I was there, I'd be like, I'm going down in front. You can't stop me.
I know, right? But you know what? There'll probably be more this year because they all want to see Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith.
Celebrate. Yeah, they'll probably all be playing tomorrow. I think that'll be a very exciting preseason game, despite it being preseason. Their first real NHL action.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't give a shit if it's the worst hockey I've ever seen in my life. I'm just excited to watch hockey.
Exactly. No, don't worry. Just go to a Sabres game.
The last game I watched was the Rookie Faceoff on my fucking phone on my coffee table.
Exactly. Like we're fucking salivating for hockey. I almost watched the English league. Like
I think I told you, but this summer I did end up YouTube streaming a lot of New Zealand hockey because it's opposite time frame. So you
can watch it in the middle of the day.
No, because like they would be playing in the day over there, but then it would be like 11 p.m. over here.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, all right, time for I don't even fucking remember. But
the Australian fucking hockey league.
Yeah,
Like,
there's like 20 people in the stands, and it looks like a beer league game. And I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, it's finally here. I mean, very excited. On that note, do you want to talk about any possible, outside of like Pearson and Brisson and Romberg, do you think there's anybody that could possibly make the team or be a immediate call-up?
Well, that's the fun part, right? Because for a while now, it feels like there has not been much competition or openings on the roster.
Yep.
And this year, it feels like there is.
Yes.
I think, which is part of why camp feels so exciting this year. That's a good question. I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Morelli gets a shot. Yeah. He's older, but he can play, and I think he plays the right way, and he plays the kind of game that that Bruce likes.
Yeah, especially in a fourth line role.
See, a lot of these guys I really like, but they're like 20. So
yeah, I would say if it's in a bottom six role, like say you have to push up, for example, if you have to push up like Howden to play on like the third or the second in case something happens or somebody has to move up. I wouldn't be surprised if Jakub Demek, because of his size, 6'4", 210. I know he's only 21. I wouldn't be surprised if he popped into play a bottom line role just to be there to be big. There's size on here. Like we said, we still have Tanner Lashinsky, who played with the Flyers and played some. I think he played like 30 something games with them. Mm-hmm. And then you've also got Zach Aston-Reese. Obviously, he's got a longer career, and you could bring him up. But I think there's some youth on here that, just in case you need it, which I hope we don't. I hope this, and that's another storyline we need to talk about going into camp, is can the health be maintained? Can we stay healthy? And like you said with McCrimmon, we had 14 surgeries over a span of a few months.
Yep.
And can we all stay healthy? Can we keep that same mindset of like what Stone's been saying? This is the healthiest I've ever felt, or Carlson saying I feel great. Hurdle feels great. Can we keep that to where they play? They all play 70 games. They all play. If this team can stay healthy, there's no doubt in my mind they can steamroll like 95% of the league.
Oh yeah, agreed. I think the thing is sometimes, and maybe we've been a little spoiled, but sometimes you look at teams and you look at our roster and how stacked it's been, and I want to say we're spoiled, but you kind of take for granted having all this talent, but you don't need to have the most stacked team that's going to blow everyone out 7-1 every night. You just need to win games.
You just need to win games,
and I think this is a roster that's going to win more often than they lose.
I mean, look at some like
even through the defense alone, because Cassidy even said, his big quote was, "I want us to be the best defensive team in the Pacific Division." And
I think they'd be the best defensive team in the fucking league.
I know, but I like the fact that he said division because I think it kind of keeps the goal small.
I mean, I think
it keeps those guys from getting two in their head.
Honestly, who other than maybe like LA?
Even then, it's like I like some pieces, but like, yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
I guess I would say to me on paper we're already goal accomplished already.
And the system that Cassidy runs,
the
system that we run. And that's been traditionally ran as a defense first system, and protect your goaltender to really so he can the goaltender is not making fucking desperation saves.
Exactly.
You want to protect the guy to where like he can make those saves and cover those pucks, and maybe he'll make a great save here and there, but you don't want him doing that all night. You don't want him pulling like a Carey Price or shit like that where he's got to stretch across the goddamn the net. But yeah, I think this defense, like you said, on paper, this defense is probably the best defense we've had. I would even say better than the cup defense. Best defense we've had. If everybody can stay healthy, can stay consistent, there's no reason why this team can't be great. I mean, there's a Jesse Granger quote. He was watching Hannafin, and Hannafin just looked, lights out, incredible.
Yeah.
While they were practicing. And I think I saw something where like, oh, well, Hannafin was the third best defenseman on Calgary. I'm like, he really wasn't. You
know what you call that, Alex? That's called copium.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a copium epidemic in the nation of Canada for the last 30 years.
There's a reason why he got so much trade value back, more than Tanev did, and then there's a reason why Anderson never got moved. So, well, Anderson will get moved this year. So
good bright shot D. He'll be on his way out. I am positive.
He'll probably be playing for a contender in the Central.
I was gonna say he's gonna go to
Dallas.
I was gonna say the Nashville Predators.
Yeah. So
imagine how unstoppable
disgusting.
that team would be.
Oh yeah. Roman Yursi and Marcus Anderson, or no? Is it Marcus?
Rasmus.
Why did I say Marcus?
I don't know.
Rasmus Anderson.
I was trying to think. I'm like, who's a Marcus in the league? I was like, Foligno.
Johansson, Foligno. I think that's
yeah. Which, by the way, I just see Nick Foligno captain of the Blackhawks.
Cool. I think it's fun.
I thought it was a good move because I fucking hate it when teams are like, "Oh, we're actually going to give the siege to the 18-year-old." Don't do that.
He's probably going to be in the league for a couple of years, and that'll be like the passing off to Bedard once Bedard's like 21. Do not give Bedard the C at 19. Like, no.
The amount of pressure, he doesn't need that shit.
19 years old. I think it's a smart move, and
same thing with Radko Gudas and
I like that.
I'm like, don't give it to
Carlson.
Or
Cutter Gauthier.
Give it to the veteran.
Yeah.
He'll protect those kids for a few years, and then when he retires, slap it on Leo Carlson or whoever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. You don't have to rush it.
I've always hated the idea of like, well, the captain should be the best player on the team.
No.
I'm like, no, that's stupid.
Mark Stone's not the best player on the team. Jack Eichel is. But even Mark Stone, when he was
fucking Adam Lowry is the captain of the Winnipeg Jets.
He's not even close to the best player
yeah,
on the
so
team.
but he's definitely not a weirdo like fucking Mark Scheifele. So
True.
So he is more fitting for a captaincy, even though he's a third liner.
I would probably give it to Kyle Connor.
I guess. I can't say anything about his personality because I don't think I've ever witnessed it.
Yeah, I don't think he has personality. Kyle Connor's a robot.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking
but
about.
But there's some questionable captains, like you said. It shouldn't go to kids. Like I'm not saying that they're not leaders. Don't fucking quote. Don't take this out of context. They can be leaders, but they're usually leaders of other teenagers once they come in the league.
Exactly.
It's going to be harder for them.
I was the captain of my World Junior team.
Now you're going to be playing 30-year-olds that are going to be fucking taking your head off. Like,
yeah. Now you're playing with guys with like fucking wives and children.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're gonna tell them what to do.
There's no need to rush that. Like I know this is kind of a free flowing like just talk. Like after Mark.
Honestly, I feel like I feel like this is how I want it to be sometimes. Yeah. It's fun to have structure and previews, but sometimes I'm like, let's just shoot the shit, man.
Yeah, I know
that's what a podcast
it's kind of
is.
a little transition episode until preseason starts, but I wanted another maybe pointed question. I know hopefully it's far off. After Mark Stone retires, or is not on the team anymore, I would hope retires, who do you think could be the next captain of this team?
I always had a firm answer for this, but now I'm not sure he's going to be on the team because of Caden Korzak. But my answer has always been Zach Whitecloud.
I could see that if he signed through 2028, and if he can maintain his, can get back to where he was defensively, I think that's definitely a possibility.
To me, he is captain material because he cares a lot. He's just a respectful young boy.
Yep.
Not a boy. He's a young man. But the way he carries himself with the press, and you can tell he takes it seriously.
Yes.
He's seems to have a pure soul, kind of an underdog his whole career. I always remember the quote Peter DeBoer said, where he's like, he basically said, like, he's the type of guy that you hope your daughter marries.
Yeah, he's a good kid. And then. Hopefully we keep this guy. My pick would be, I looked at his UFA. He's a UFA next year. If we can keep him, my pick would be Keegan Kolesar.
Yeah.
In a similar vein of,
Doesn't have to be the best player.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we talked about that an episode or two ago where, I think he's really kind of grown into his own. And what's funny is during camp, when they were talking about leadership, Bruce mentioned his name again.
Yeah. He's a part of that leadership group. It's him. I think you got to. That's why I think this team is going to be good. You've got leadership all over the ice. You've got obviously Eichel and Carlson and Stone, but you also have Howden and Kolesar, and then obviously Pietrangelo, Hanifin. Everybody on that defense is a veteran. There's nobody there that's young. Like look at the ages. Like they're all over 25. And then you could bring in Korzak, who's a younger guy. He's only 23. He's still not that young.
Did you see him though? He looks
great.
He looks like a man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited.
We saw him at the Winter Classic, and he kind of looked like a little
baby.
He looked like a lost teenager.
He looked like, what he really reminds me of. I think I make this joke all the time. He looks like an elf from Lord of the Rings. Just like how straight his jaw is, and how kind of like
high cheekbones.
I'm like,
When we saw him at the Winter Classic, he kind of looked like, when you're in high school and like you don't know where your locker is and you're just kind of looking around. He kind of had that vibe. But the interview after practice, I'm like, oh man, this dude, he's a fucking man now.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. I really think he's going to play a lot more than people think. I think, like we said, I hope White Cloud is not the guy that like gets spelled out, but he is a much needed right-handed shot defenseman.
Do you think that this might happen? They let McNabb walk in free agency and then keep White Cloud because he's younger and can kind of play that.
I do think
defensive role.
I think so because here's the thing: is you have to make a decision. It's either going to be Brayden McNabb at 34, or you pay Nicholas Hague a lot more money because he's going to be an RFA. You're going to have to pay him at least, probably based on the Broberg contract, at least $4.5 million. Mm-hmm. Can you take the hit of Theodore at, let's say, 7, Petro at 8.8, Hannafin at 7.3, and then Hague at $5 million? Can you take that shot? But like we said, but now you have Korczak, who's right behind there, that you can feel comfortable with letting Hague or Hannafin go because Hague's RFA. You retain those rights. You're going to get, if someone wants to sign him, you're going to get something back for him. McNabb, I love him, but we'll see how he played great last year. He was incredible. We have options.
As we were reminded this summer, the front office takes age very seriously.
Yes, especially with
White Cloud and Hague, their ages perfectly line up with the rest of the guys that are the core.
Because you do want to save some money because you're going to have to pay Eichel in 2 years. He comes up in 26, and he's, by all means, he needs to be retained and he needs to still be with his team. I just think we've got some things in the pipeline like Korczak, like Cormier. I know Cormier is a little undersized. I know he's not 6 feet, but he was really good when he was here. We've got guys like Daniel Shaka and obviously Joe Fleming and Christopher Seedoff. Both looked really, really good, and both have really looked good, and they're both under 22 years old. You've got those guys. And who's to say that you don't trade for a piece to replace somebody?
I really think I know obviously the focus is on this year, and it kind of feels like we have holes in the roster. Or, I don't feel that way anymore. I'm all hyped now. But, that's a common criticism is the holes in the roster.
General question marks.
But we're about to have a lot of money come off the books. And depending on who we keep or don't keep, we're going to hit the biggest free agent class in a long time.
And I think that's why...
with a shit ton of cap space.
Yeah, I think that's why McCrimmon didn't go big game hunting after he lost out on Stammer. And after he lost out on Marshy, they were talking about Stammer, but they didn't want to give him that contract because he got like $8 million, I think.
Yeah, fuck
at that age. And we want to talk about Marshy getting overpaid at his age. Stammer got overpaid.
Yes.
I know Stammer's incredible, but
he's old.
He's been injured.
That's what killed me is... leading up to free agency, I kept seeing a lot of people like, oh man, imagine if we got Stamkos. And I'm like,
why?
I'm like,
it's
why?
cool.
I'm like, if the criticism of Marchessault is that he's too old and too expensive, why would you want someone that is older and would cost more?
Exactly. And I think, exactly. Why would you want that? I know Stammer's great. I don't want to make this blanket statement, but I think he was definitely greater because of Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point.
I was going to say, it's like, it is also worthy of noting that his center is one of the best hockey players in the modern age.
No, exactly.
Because he played with Kucherov, right?
Yeah, he did. That's the only guy he played with.
Is Kucherov a center? Or is he a winger?
He was a winger because Point was the center on that line.
You're right.
So,
point being, he was on a power play unit and on a line with one of the greatest hockey players of all time.
Yeah, with a guy that's consistently in over 100 and something points every single goddamn year. That also he'll miss 10 games and somehow still score fucking like 50 something goals. I'm like, come on. And then,
I know, not to go on a random Nashville tangent, but as much as I like the way Nashville looks this year, Tommy Novak is not Braden Point.
Obviously, he downgrades in running mates, but I think he can still be good. I still think Stammer's a really good hockey player. It's just you got to put in the perspective of who he was with in Tampa Bay for a long, long time. How did we get on to Steven Stamkos?
I was about to say, now to bring it back, and then I thought about it. I'm like, what were we talking about?
Age. We're talking about
age and free agency.
But we're talking about free agency because that's how we got to the Stamkos part. Was McCrimmon didn't go big game hunting, knowing that he's got some names he's got to sign. You would hope he can sign Theodore in the offseason, not in the offseason, during the season. You hope he can maybe re-sign Hague for a reasonable amount. And if McNabb has to walk, McNabb has to walk. But now you're going to have an extra probably $10 million on top of our current $2 million without Leonard, and you're going to have money to play with. And then the year after that, it's going to go up another $3 to $4 million to re-sign Jack Ike and just give that money to Jack. I mean, I think it was smart. Like,
no, I agree because, like I said, I know the focus, rightly so, is on this year, but next year, I think we're gonna have a very different looking team. But I think it's going to be a very dynamic team that's going to make a lot of people angry. Yeah, because I think you're right. We're gonna one of those big fish. I think we're going to get at least one of them.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, how does Vegas keep doing it? Blah, blah, blah. Why do guys want to sign in Vegas and not in Winnipeg? I'm like, what? Think about it. What do you mean? God.
Yeah, I think what was, I don't know who it was. I don't think it was any of our reporters, but it was, I think it was Friedman. He said, it's like, don't be surprised if they resign everybody or like they go out and get a name because people just love playing in Vegas. Like people want to go play there. I'm like, of course you want to play there. Especially, could you imagine if you're Alexander Holtz and you're young and single and you're coming to Vegas?
No, exactly. And as Marceau said, they treat you like a fucking king here.
Yeah.
They got they wash your car at the practice rink.
Yeah.
They set you up.
But yeah, I mean, I just like the makeup of the team again. And, I think it's like we're, coming back to those little tangents, but I just like the
point of that tangent being guys want to play here.
Yep, guys want to play here, and there's gonna be plenty of guys that would want to come here.
We're gonna have a lot of cap space next year, and we're gonna have zero problem attracting free agents.
Still gonna be contenders. I mean, and we'll have to sign Aiden Hill and maybe a backup goaltender, but I don't think Aiden Hill's gonna demand $6 million. He's not Jake Swayman.
Well, $8 million, who knows?
Hey, Jake might not play until December. We'll see. I'm very super excited. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about.
Yes. Henderson. Do they make the playoffs?
I'm gonna say team. Yes.
Young team,
fast team, good defense. Ryan Craig's a good coach. Goaltending will be good. Will be better. Deep goaltending, and you've got a lot of youth on the team. That's going to be playing. It's going to be playing and want to play hard, especially how loud Lee's Family Forum gets and how, obviously we have a ton of fun when we're there.
Oh, I'm excited.
There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to want to play, and you're going to have some vets on the team. You're going to have Robert Haig and obviously Mason Geertsen and Gage Quinney, but you're going to have a lot of youth.
Possibly Zach Aston-Reese.
But you're going to have Cataford, Sapavilov, and then depending how the NCAA season, you might see Trevor Connolly by the end of the year. Providence gets eliminated. He doesn't play well or gets eliminated early. I think there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of things to be excited about, especially for the AHL now. Now that nothing against Byron Freese and Sheldon Rimpall and Adam Cracknell, you don't need those guys anymore to make the team better.
That, and I think it's kind of the old tale. Vegas gets injured.
Yep.
All the best Henderson players go play up.
Yeah.
And then Henderson's just kind of ravaged.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be a big point to stay healthy and
Yeah, I think Simon Pinard will make the team. I think Sapavilov.
Somehow that's the only name I can pronounce.
That's the only name I don't think I can pronounce. even when I try, I can't.
Yeah.
But he should make the team this year.
Yeah, and you got
defense, like you said, is good.
Yeah,
good
Cormier, Sedoff, good goalies. You've got
Sedoff will probably play the full year instead of coming over from Savannah halfway through.
Yep, and then Fleming will probably make it. You got Scheika, and you also got Dyson Mayo too. There's a lot of good things to be excited about, and then obviously Brendan Hickey I think can play both. He can play defense.
Yeah, I think he's going to be playing forward as well.
Yeah, and then Mason Geertsen, they play him at both. So you've got a lot of things to be excited about. I do think, and then plus in the AHL Pacific, it's fucking weird, right? 9 or 10 teams make the playoffs.
I was going to say there's a million fucking Pacific teams, and three quarters of them make the playoffs.
Yeah, isn't there 12 or 14? There's 12 teams I think in the Pacific for some fucking reason.
Yeah, don't know.
And the structure is 9 make it or 10 make it. Just because, I don't know. It's so weird. I think we can do it. I mean, we're kind of close up until the end of the year when guys had to go play. We were only a couple points out of I think Bakersfield. And then, we kind of fell off. Obviously, guys had to go up.
And guess what? Bakersfield's not going to have Philip Roberg down there for most of the year.
Nope. They're not going to have Philip Roberg or Matthias Janmark or, they might not have... God, Hamblin. Oh God, this big loss.
Gosh.
Hamblin and Raphael Savoy was pretty good, or Lavoie, one of them. That big kid. Might not have him. He might be a scratch on the Oilers to have him up there. Like,
well, I don't know. Bob Stauffer did not seem impressed.
Yeah, even their own. What's he? He's like a lawless, right? He's like a
I think of him as like Edmonton lawless. Like,
yeah, and he was. You said that he was not impressed
with
he
their
was super
prospect
worried
tournament. Yeah,
because Ryan Whitney was gonna go all excited and glaze over.
Well, I'll call it what it was. He was ready for an oil suck fest.
Yeah, and then Bob Stauffer had to bring him back down to earth. And he's like, didn't you say? He's like, I am very worried about this bottom six in defense.
Basically, he was like, because he was like, oh yeah, well, is there anything on this team to worry about? And he was immediately like bottom six, and they're like, well, that's not like defense,
like we've said, like everybody, like anybody
goaltending,
anybody with fucking eyes can see like.
And then they asked him like, well, what about how do you feel about Calvin Pickard? And he kind of paused, and he's like, well, his teammates love him. That's kind of like if you work at a restaurant,
You're bad at your job. It's like, well, he's a really nice guy.
Exactly. Like someone's like, is this dish good? And if you don't like it, you just say, well, it's popular.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like, well, people eat it.
I personally don't like it, but
I'll never eat it.
Obviously, you can't say that, so
and
you just default to it's well liked by
wasn't
others.
he like you said that they were talking about the guy from Buffalo, Matthew Savoy, and they're like, oh well, he can play up, and then I think didn't you say Bob Stauffer was just like, no, these guys are like years away from being an NHLer.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not a good thing to hear from like the guy that is supposed to be really high on your team, but is watching them every day. It's not a
good thing to hear if you're the oldest team in the fucking league. Hearing that your prospect pool
we got
sucks.
15 minutes of the We Hate Edmonton hour.
Yeah, this should be a regular segment. It should have its own like little intro music.
Oh yeah, we
time for the Edmonton Hate Hour. Do.
Yeah, like it's in comparison to like we did the Pacific last week. It's just a lot of those teams are just so good, and I felt bad putting LA at 5, even though I think they'll be better.
I know. Part of me is like kind of like I wish I could redo that ranking. I'm like, you know what?
Vancouver's 5,
fall, like LA fucking 3 or something. I don't know.
Like Vancouver's got more than likely no Demko or Demko not at full health ever again, because it's like a muscle injury that no other goaltender has ever had.
Well, it's
like
funny because
fucking...
he had his press conference and he said, "Don't worry." He basically said like, "We're not worried. We're going through it at a good pace." But then he also said, "It's also a unique injury that no one has ever had." And I'm like, well.
That's not good.
That would make me worry.
That's more worried. Like when I heard, it's like when they were like, "Oh yeah, Robin Leonard's getting a double hip surgery." I'm like, never playing hockey again.
Exactly. And it's funny because I remember, I think it was last year. For some reason, people were convinced that he was going to show up to camp ready to play. And I'm like, they're like, well, what about Robin Leonard? Where's he? I'm like, what do you mean, where's he? He can't play. He got both of his hips taken out.
Literally,
he's a goalie.
No other goalie has had a double hip surgery.
He's like a 6'4", 240-pound goalie.
Right on. Good job, Jacob.
Oh, wow.
6'4", 240.
Well, that point being, that's a lot to put on your hips.
And then Brossoit had one hip, and even then he took a while to come back. Obviously, he was in the AHL all year. Yeah, it's just like, but Vancouver, it's like no one else has had that injury, and I think he even said it's like, oh, he's working back. He had setbacks. He'll keep working, but there's no timeline. I'm like, you better be a fucking timeline.
Yeah.
And then Dakota Joshua is going to be out for this unknown amount of time because he had surgery.
Yeah. And you know what, guys? I'm revising this on the spot from last week. 5 Vancouver, 4 Oilers, 3 Kings, 2 Kraken, 1 Vegas. There we go.
I'll take it on the spot. Well, I'll AR that in and just cut off like an hour of last week's episode.
Yeah, we'll just re-upload the episode and it'll be
45 minutes.
It'll be like, yeah, in 5th place I have Vancouver. Yeah, I just think that Vancouver can really, whatever.
Yeah.
In 3rd place I have the Kings.
Yeah. It could go a lot of ways, but like it's going to be difficult for Vancouver to even do anything without Demko. It's just he's so good. Like, it's you don't want to give too much praise to a rival team, but Thatcher Demko lives in like I'm sure Peter DeBoer's nightmares.
Oh yeah,
like that series in the bubble was just so hard and so fucking just brutal, and he was so good. He's got better, but if he can't be back to where he was, it's going to be a lot of issues with that team.
And to give them credit, I think Tocchet has them playing enough with enough structure where they can protect their goalie.
I do,
but that being said, the Demko effect is real.
Yeah.
He is a key piece that they built around.
Yeah, and he's a piece that you have to plan for if you're game planning for him. Like look how well they played against the Predators without him and against the Oilers without him.
Yeah, they went to Game 7 against that's what I mean as far as the structure. They went to Game 7 with Shelovs and that. So
and Casey Smith played a couple games too.
Yeah, so maybe they'll be okay, but
that was the playoff run and everybody was riding high. This is 82 games and
exactly. Plus Vancouver just doesn't seem to be able to string 2 good years in a row.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Maybe they'll fall back in their old habits. I'm like, oh no, we suck again.
Yeah, I like we said last week, we like JT Miller, we like Brock Besser, we like a lot of those guys on that team. It's just Demko's just so good, such a difference maker on his own, that it's kind of hard to discount what he brings to the table. It's like, what happens if Nashville lost Saros for an extended period? Not good. Like, what happens if Oilers lose Skinner? They're gonna Calvin Picard.
Well, his teammates like him.
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew this, but
so do other teams when they come just get a barely fucking half a good shot on them.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but the Edmonton Oilers are all best friends and they all love each other.
I'm sure they all
that brotherly camaraderie will get them over the hump.
Right, just having a 39-year-old Corey Perry and Vander Kane kicking and screaming going on.
Well, they all have stuff in common, like punching women or getting drunk or gambling.
I still can't believe that Kane. They're like, well, why didn't they do it last year? Like, well, he might not have been ready for the playoffs. I'm like, and if he wasn't, he wasn't. At least you were able to get a $5 million better player and bring him in. You should have put him on LTIR last year. Well, maybe you would have won the cup with a guy that was like, Elias Lindholm or something like that.
Well, it's funny because for this year, he did get surgery, and like, well, are they going to put him on LTIR? Then I think they decided not to, and I was like, well, they should have, because I would have really loved to see everyone in the league have their stance on the LTIR.
They're not putting him on LTIR?
No,
they have only okay. Well,
but anyways, I was really looking forward to them doing that, and then seeing everyone's stance on the LTIR rules just magically and suddenly shift overnight. Yeah, everyone's be like, actually, LTIR is a great rule, and we shouldn't change the rules. We shouldn't change the rules.
Wow.
If it means Edmonton can get an extra piece, then it's actually a really smart, awesome rule.
Damn, he's really not going to LTIR. That's the dumbest fucking thing I could imagine. Like, they only have...
well, I think it's because, I'm guessing his recovery date is, so far before the playoffs that...
It wouldn't matter.
I think it would... people give us shit for LTIR. I'm like, well, at least that's, in March, not, in fucking January.
Right.
We're not shelving a guy for literally the entire season.
Jeez, that's not a good idea, because that means they literally have no money.
Yep.
They'll have $1 million, because that's really going to help them at the fucking deadline. No LTIR. Wow.
Look at all those zeros on their draft board.
0 next year. Wow. So we want to talk shit about Vegas's cupboards are bare. Vegas's cupboards are bare. So is Edmonton's. I mean, at
least we won.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you put Evander Kane on LT? That's so expect to return November 3rd. So really only a month of the season, but. All right. You could play it smarter, but like was said, I think before, we've said it so many times. If your GM and ownership wanted to, they would.
They wanted to, they would.
Yep. And then fucking Mike Hoffman.
Oh yeah, Mike Hoffman on PTO. That's great.
Mike Hoffman and Jasper Weatherby totally gonna fix that the issues they have. 2 guys that don't play. Jasper Weatherby doesn't play at all. Mike Hoffman that doesn't fucking play well.
Well, like you said, Stan Bowman's really good.
They're gonna get older, 34.
Like you said, Stan Bowman's really good at signing guys that were good 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've only been into the 10 minutes of the Edmonton hate moment.
And thank you everyone for joining us for the Edmonton hate the Edmonton hate segment.
Yeah. So we'll have another one where literally less than a month away from opening night? Maybe like
more or
we're
less.
2 weeks, 3 weeks away.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, man, it's already the 21st.
Yeah, it's
Opening night's
it's like the 9th, 8th or 9th.
Mm-hmm, something like that.
So we're like 3 weeks out.
Got our fantasy draft coming up.
Fantasy draft next week. We won't drop too much fantasy bullshit on you guys. Also, we know some of our league mates are listening to this. We're not
The only thing I'll share on the podcast is that I will be sure to brag when I win, as I won last year.
barely.
They don't ask how. They ask how many.
Exactly. Yeah, super excited. Hockey's here. Unfortunately, the weather is not going to change. For hockey, it's going to be 95 degrees next week while we're in jerseys.
And Henderson's going to be like 100.
Awesome,
but that's okay because I'll drink my pumpkin cream cold brew and
pretend
I'll light my fall candles and I'll start digging out the Halloween decorations and I'll just pretend
and sweat.
I'll just crank up the AC and pretend that it's cold.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we'll be back here next week with more talking about the 3 preseason games.
Yeah, we'll see who got cut, who looks good.
Yep.
If the lines change at all.
Exactly. Yep.
Evaluate some performances and just
talk to Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, circle jerk about how much we hate Edmonton.
Exactly. We'll make it maybe like a little less, but we'll scream out a name and say that we hate him. Recently I think we the entire Pacific has come together and like we all hate Edmonton so fucking much that we will forget that we hate each other for now.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. I think
until I meet you in round 2 of the playoffs, then I'm gonna fucking smoke you.
Exactly. I think it was last year. Like there was like something going on or talking shit or LTR things, and I remember Calgary fans like, "Hey guys, shut the fuck up!" Like Calgary fans were coming to our rescue. I'm like, "What is going on?"
Friends in odd places.
Exactly.
Strange bedfellows.
Yeah. Well, until next week, stay gold.
Stay gold, folks.